Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Okay, get ready, because today we are unpacking the chaotic, dramatic, and honestly near disastrous history of the world's second most visited website. When we think of massive tech giants today, we usually imagine this flawless master plan, right? But the reality of this platform? It's a wild, underdog survival story. We're talking accidental pivots, billion-dollar lawsuits, and just cascading crises. So let's dive into exactly how this fragile ecosystem managed to survive the early internet and become such a dominant force in our daily lives.
But to understand where it is today, we actually have to start at the absolute beginning. And you might be a little confused to hear that their very first slogan was, "Tune in, hook up." Yeah, believe it or not, back in 2005, this behemoth started as a video dating platform. The idea was pretty simple. You upload a video of yourself, you find a date. The only problem? It was an absolute ghost town. It was so bad that, in a desperate attempt to get things moving, the founders literally tried to pay women $20 on Craigslist just to upload a profile. And no way, nobody even took the bait.
So how in the world did a failed dating site become the second most viewed website on the planet? Well, let's dive into this, because this is where the story takes a really fascinating turn. When the dating angle completely flopped, the founders noticed users were doing something totally unexpected. Instead of posting dating profiles, people were just using the site as a free database to store and share random homemade clips they had lying around on their computers or SD cards. We're talking snowboarding fails, random backflips, and just a guy standing in front of the elephant enclosure at the zoo.
Seeing this, the founders basically just threw their hands up, abandoned the dating idea entirely, and let people upload whatever they wanted. And guys, the speed of this first year was absolutely breakneck. Think about this. They registered the domain on Valentine's Day in February 2005. By April, that famous first zoo video goes up. By November, they're securing millions in venture capital, and by 2006, acquired for over $1 billion. They literally had to adapt overnight from this empty dating shell into a booming generic video database holding thousands of daily uploads.
Now you might be wondering, why did they succeed when so many other early video sharing sites just completely failed? Well, they brilliantly solved the massive technical barrier to entry. See, before this, hosting and sending large video files was painfully slow and incredibly expensive. Plus, every digital camera used a different, totally incompatible format. The founders solved this by integrating a free browser plugin called Flash Player. It automatically converted everything into a single format, compressed the files so they loaded super fast in small chunks, and the whole shebang was entirely free. You didn't have to download a thing. You just clicked a link and it worked.
Let's look at part 1, surviving the viral boom. Because sharing was suddenly so seamless, the platform faced its first real existential threat, which was, ironically, its own explosive popularity. It created this massive snowball effect. Someone would upload a universally funny clip, think David After Dentist or Charlie Bit My Finger. Then viewers would take that link and post it all over MySpace, which was the absolute biggest social network at the time. That drove millions of views back to the platform. Those new viewers would then upload their own videos, and the cycle just accelerated. But while this viral loop looked like an incredible success story from the outside, inside the company headquarters, it was causing sheer panic.
And that panic basically came down to one specific number, $129. When they first started, the founders hired a data hosting company called Server Beach, which offered an unlimited bandwidth plan for just $129 a month. But as that viral snowball really got rolling, Server Beach quickly realized their unlimited plan was a huge mistake. They revoked it and told the founders they had to pay proportionally for the actual bandwidth they were using. So suddenly, that $129 skyrocketed into thousands and thousands of dollars charged directly to the founders' personal credit card every single month. And remember, the platform was still making absolutely zero money.
This terrifying financial drain eventually led to an incredible stroke of luck. With bankruptcy literally looming and investors turning them down left and right because video hosting was seen as a giant money pit, one of the founders, Jod, happened to attend a barbecue. While he was there, he ran into an old coworker who was struggling to share his honeymoon videos. Jod was like, "Hey, let me help you put those on our platform." Well, it just so happened this coworker now worked at Sequoia Capital, which is one of Silicon Valley's most powerful venture capital firms. He was so impressed with how easy the tech was that he connected the founders with his partners, leading to a desperately needed $3.5 million investment. That random BBQ encounter quite literally saved the platform from going bankrupt under the weight of its own success.
Moving on to part 2, Google and the creator economy.
Okay. So with the server bills finally paid, the site just grew exponentially.
But that growth attracted a massive new enemy: traditional media. At this point, about 65,000 new videos were being uploaded every single day. And since literally anyone could upload anything, users were just uploading ripped movies, TV shows, and copyrighted music. Traditional media completely panicked. Newsweek actually dubbed the platform the video version of Napster, wondering if it would just get sued into oblivion. Major record labels launched a barrage of lawsuits, and Viacom even threatened them with a massive billion-dollar lawsuit over pirated TV clips. The platform simply didn't have the tools or the cash to fight this off on their own.
Enter Google. Just 18 months after the site launched, Google swooped in and acquired them for a staggering $1.65 billion. Google had its own video service at the time, but it was really failing to capture the market. They basically figured, hey, if you can't beat them, buy them. But more importantly for our story, this acquisition brought the massive technological and legal resources needed to actually fix the rampant piracy issues before the courts shut the whole thing down.
Google's solution was this brilliant technological breakthrough called Content ID. It was a massive database tool that allowed major copyright holders to upload their entire libraries. The system would then automatically scan the platform for identical matches. When it found a match, the copyright holder got a choice. They could either block the video and take it down, or, and this is key, they could leave it up and run advertisements on it to make money. This totally solved the copyright crisis, keeping traditional media happy, and paved the way for the platform to finally actually generate sustainable revenue.
Now, what's really interesting here is what happened next. In 2007, they launched the Partner Program with a revolutionary ad revenue split. 55% went to the creator and 45% went to the platform. This was a completely unprecedented move. Up until this point, people were just making videos for fun in their spare time. Suddenly, all the traditional gatekeepers were gone. You didn't need a fancy producer or a record label to get paid. You could literally broadcast yourself from your bedroom and make a living. This single financial decision effectively birthed the modern creator economy.
Next up, Part 3, Chasing the Watch Time.
So once creators realized that views equaled real money, the platform got completely flooded with misleading content. In those early days, the algorithm just rewarded clicks and views, period. And that led straight into the clickbait era, where you'd see totally deceptive titles and wild thumbnails just to trick you into clicking. To fix this, the platform completely changed the rules. They entered the watch time era, where the algorithm started rewarding session duration instead. The logic was pretty sound. If you spend a long time watching a video, you probably actually like it. And to put that into perspective, the reason you can sit back today and watch incredibly high-quality 20-minute video essays or long gaming streams is directly because of this specific algorithmic shift rewarding duration over simple clicks.
Now let's look at Part 4, the ad apocalypses.
By this time, the sheer scale of the platform had become virtually incomprehensible. Take a look at this number, 400. That is 400 hours of video content being uploaded every single minute. At that immense volume, human moderation is completely, mathematically impossible. The platform could no longer manually check every single video to ensure it was safe.
And that unmoderated scale led to a cascading series of serious crises. In 2017, major brands discovered their ads were actually being placed right alongside extremist political content, which sparked a massive mainstream boycott. Then came Elsagate, where these incredibly disturbing, violent parodies of kids' characters somehow slipped past the safety algorithms and ended up on the dedicated kids app. Later, horrific reports surfaced of predator networks exploiting the comment sections of innocent family vlogs by sharing specific timestamps. It was an appalling abuse of the platform that required immediate, aggressive intervention. Simultaneously, widespread claims of political censorship were coming from various groups across the spectrum. As all these crises stacked up, the massive mainstream advertisers, the ones funding this entire operation, started pulling their money out in droves, absolutely terrified for their brand's safety.
The platform solution to try and win back those advertisers was chaotic and, honestly, incredibly blunt. They deployed this automated algorithmic sweep across the entire site. Overnight, without any warning whatsoever, millions of videos were demonetized, age-restricted, or just flat-out deleted. Now, while this did help restore some advertiser confidence, the blind nature of the algorithm meant thousands of innocent creators who hadn't broken a single rule suddenly saw their entire incomes vanish. For the creators who were relying on this platform to pay rent and feed their families, it was totally devastating.
Which brings us to Part 5, the three-legged stool.
So how does a platform navigate these constant, conflicting crises without just completely collapsing? Well, inside the company, they refer to it as the impossible balancing act of the three-legged stool. They have to manage three main groups. First, the viewers, who want engaging, edgy, diverse content without being bombarded by ads. Second, the creators, who want high revenue, creative freedom, and predictable rules. And third, the advertisers, who want a totally sterile, brand-safe, family-friendly environment free from any controversy. Essentially, every single crisis we've talked about today happens when one leg of this stool gets wobbly. If you strictly cater to advertisers and sanitize everything, you alienate your viewers and creators. But if you give creators total freedom, the advertisers get scared and take their money elsewhere. It's this constant, delicate act of survival where keeping absolutely everyone perfectly happy is, well, mathematically impossible.
And honestly, that balancing act is only getting harder. Today, the platform is basically surviving by fighting a multi-front war. They're battling TikTok with the introduction of short-form vertical content. They're taking on Twitch by heavily investing in live streamers. They're even aggressively competing against traditional TV as streaming watch time hits our living rooms. And all the while, the creator landscape itself has drastically shifted, moving away from the early days of solo vloggers in their bedrooms to these massive, multi-million-dollar production companies churning out really high-budget entertainment. You know, it really is incredible to look back and see how an empty, failed video dating site from 2005 accidentally stumbled its way into becoming a foundational pillar of the modern internet. Despite the ongoing balancing acts, the messy algorithmic errors, and some seriously fierce competition, it is deeply woven into the fabric of our lives. So I want to leave you with this final thought. If this fragile, chaotic ecosystem suddenly collapsed tomorrow, what would actually happen to the daily routines, the tutorials, the education, and the entertainment that you rely on every single day? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember to keep questioning the systems that shape our digital world.